Hello! Welcome to the fourth live show for the Mortal Readalong, where today we will be discussing City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. Obviously, half of us are missing.
Literally half.
Selena has to work, and Momo and Caitlin are both terribly, terribly sick. So they wanted us to go on without it, just so that we could get the live show out of the way. But so I guess we can just start off with our general thoughts and such on the book like we normally do, if you guys want.
Sure. Who wants to go first?
We can go down the line, so it'll go me, Sierra, and then Chloe. So when I first read this book, because this is obviously like my 7th time rereading it, I really hated it. It was totally my last favorite in the series. It's super small. It's the smallest of the series, I think, and it was just like a lot of information, and the majority of the book was just super boring to me. Like, stuff happened, but it wasn't like, City of Bones to me or City of Glass. So I wasn't a huge fan of it. But now that I've read it a second time, for some reason this time I really enjoyed it like much more. Like I really have always loved the ending of this book, but like now I really, really love the ending, and it kind of like helps me make up for all the boring parts. So this time reading it, I definitely enjoyed it much more. But I think it's still my least favorite in the series. So, Sierra, what do you think?
Well, the first time I read it, I also did not like it at all because this is the first book, well, it's the 4th, and it's only supposed to be a trilogy, so it's a little off because the 3rd book does end with such a big bang that, like, continuing is kind of awkward. And it is the first book where they start to switch perspective, because they don't do that in any of them.
Yeah, oh my god, I only just started realizing that. I've never picked up on that.
I hated when I first read it. I hated that they did it. But this time around, I really enjoyed it. I read it all today. Impressive. But the ending to this book, I did remember that the ending to this one was like fantastic, and I was not disappointed when I got there about 20 minutes ago.
Chloe, what did you think? Oh wait, am I the only one that can't hear Chloe?
No, I can't hear her. Chloe, you're muted.
Did your microphone go off? She was talking before. Oh no, what happened? Dang it. Chloe, no. Make sure your microphone's working in the settings. Sierra, in the meantime, what did you rate it? Like, did your rating change, and if so, like, what was it?
I don't remember what my first rating on it originally was, but I'd probably give it about a 4 this time. I mean, it's still my least favorite as well, because it's really boring throughout it. Like, nothing really happens, kind of.
No, I totally agree. It's like,
but the ending just kind of makes up for it, like you said. So I'd probably give it like at least 3.5, 4. I don't know.
Yeah, the way I always like thought of this book is that because it was supposed to be a trilogy, she had ideas for like the rest of the series, but she didn't have anything to put into the part before the ending, because the ending is so significant to the rest of the series.
Right.
But I feel like she was just like, what can I put in here that's gonna lead up to the ending, but not be so significant to overshadow the ending? I don't know.
Like, I would have been okay with like if this book was just like the last couple chapters.
Like, but a novella in the middle of the series.
Yeah. Seriously.
Chloe, are you talking now? No!
I can see your mouth moving. If you move your mouse, Chloe, at the top bar, there's like a little person, and then there's a mic. Is that on?
No, she's not muted. I think it's under the or check under the settings, maybe. I don't know.
Great.
So 2 of us are sick, 1 of us is at work, and the other one's mic isn't working.
Lovely.
Or maybe Chloe try Xing out and coming back in. I rated all the Mortal Instruments books 5 stars, so I can't really say anything else about it.
Right.
It's not like maybe like a 4.8-ish, but it's not like a 5-star, like City of Heavenly Fire 5-star. But I totally thought, I don't know, I think the ending really does make up for it, at least me thinking about it this time around. I'm like, I can kind of understand what happened, like why everything was only leading up to it, because the ending is so big that I'm like, I can't be upset about it.
Another thing about this book is, like, things just kind of happen, like, really fast. Like, for a long time, nothing's happening, and then, like, everything happens. Like, maybe if she had just spaced out all the things that happen at the end, it could have been a great book, I think. But since it was so dragged along in the beginning and then just, like, sporadically, like, in-your-face stuff.
No, I agree, because so much of the book is, like, Clary being upset because of Jace, and Jace being upset because of himself and because of Clary, and Simon being upset because of himself and because Clary's upset, and then Jocelyn's upset because of the whole baby thing, and that makes Luke upset, and Clary and Luke and Jocelyn and Luke being upset makes Clary upset, and just everyone is up. And Alec and Magnus are both upset, and everyone is upset in this book, and that's what I think I don't like most about it. Like, Clary and Jace are fighting. They're not fighting the whole time, but they're not exactly talking.
Right.
And, like, I wish that the relationships in novels didn't have such a huge effect on me, but they totally, totally do. And, like, I feel like had Clary and Jace not had their own problems and everything else in the book happened, I would have been way more content with it.
Right. Like, it's basically a book of everyone just being a whiny bitch.
Literally. And it, like, the rest of the book's, like, not, like, Alec is kind of like that all the time, but nobody else is always like that, and so this entire book is just them all complaining about their lives and stuff, and, like, the City of Glass ended on such a strong, happy note. It was supposed to be the end, and now everyone's just sad again. And I'm like, haven't Clary and Jace gone through enough? Like, all I wanted was for them to be, like, happy and content for just a little while.
And you would totally expect that, too, because, like you said, City of Glass ends on such a strong note. Like, and you would think that, like, at least the next book they would have, like, time to, like, be together, because there's 2 more after this one. So you'd think, like, you'd at least get one book with them happy, but no, of course not.
No, I know. When we get to City of Heavenly Fire, we'll talk about how I'm happy that things are okay between them. But I don't know. It's just so sad. Like, I don't know. That, like, this book just puts me in, like, a bad mood because everyone's sad all the time. And the only thing I can do is just feel bad for them, and I hate feeling bad for characters. Just so everyone watching knows, the Q&A app is open, so you can totally ask us questions. And then you can tweet any of us that are here, and we'll see your questions. And then we're also monitoring the what am I trying to say? The YouTube, where the event is actually happening. If you want to comment your questions there. Can you send me the link of it so I can see it too?
Yes,
And Chloe's mic still isn't working. The poor thing.
I know. Why is there always a problem?
We've never had all of us at once.
Okay, I sent it to you in our chat on Facebook. So, want to get into spoilery stuff while we're waiting for Chloe, since it's
I think that
probably
we're gonna
be really fast.
So we're gonna start moving into spoilery stuff. So if you haven't read City of Fallen Angels, I would recommend not watching it.
Same. Ooh. So come back after you read it, and
yes, definitely. It'll be here.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about, like, Jace's nightmares and whatnot, and that's the reason that they're not talking?
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was a super interesting component. Like, the things about this book that, like, especially, like, the nightmares and stuff, like, I never would have expected that. Like, you know, I'm sure I had a feeling that there was some kind of form of, you know, the angel protecting them other than them just being, like, having the Shadowhunter blood, like something like the ritual, but it never occurred to me that, A, that was actually a thing, and that they would have had to, like, when Jace came back to life, it totally would have stripped him of everything. But I remember reading the book, and I was just like, wait, what the heck is going on? Because for the first time when you're reading the nightmare, you don't know that it's a dream. Like, it just starts with them, like, basically, like, making out, and then he just kills her, and I'm like, wait, what?
I think when I first read it, I, like, reread that part, because I was like, wait, what the just happened? And so I reread it, and then, like, I should have just kept going, because then it says that it was a dream. But, like, I was like, no, what?
No, and then, when Clary's in the infirmary and, like, it actually happens, I'm like, wait, how did this even occur? Like, it still doesn't make sense to me how, like, how he just grabbed the knife out of nowhere.
I know.
And, like, cut her, and I'm like, first of all, where did it come from? I think it was on the desk, but still, I'm like, this is really random.
Well, I mean, it is, he likes to keep weapons close. So.
This is very true. Wasn't it like a letter opener or something? Oh wait, Chloe, is it working?
I can hear you.
Oh, really?
Yes!
Yay!
Oh, this is wonderful. Thank gosh you're back. We're currently talking about Jace's nightmares. So Sierra, what did you think about them?
I just, same thing. Like, I thought it was crazy because, like I said, I reread that part when I originally read it. But, like, this time I knew it was happening. So I knew what to expect. But yeah, when he actually cuts her, it's like scary because he thinks it's a dream, but it's not, and it's just it all kind of happens really fast, and it's really crazy, and it just kind of blows my mind.
Chloe, what did you think about them?
I totally forgot about the like super creepy dream.
You forgot about the basic plot of the book.
I forgot that like he like grabs the knife and starts cutting her, so I was like freaking out when I didn't realize it's a dream, because then all of a sudden it's like a different perspective, and I was just like, what? But I thought it really made it interesting then when he did it in real life, and like it was the whole demon thing.
Yeah.
Can I talk about how cool Clary was about it afterwards? Like, she was like, I remember
just
reading
so
it. I think she said ouch, and Cassandra Clay writes more out of surprise than pain, and I'm like, okay, your wrist just got cut, and it was by your boyfriend,
I know.
and like you don't even care. Like, I understand, like, oh, like they love each other and their love conquers all and stuff, but still, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah,
why did that just happen? I don't know. Like, I like how like they like that. When they leave the infirmary, things are like resolved when they're going to the Silent City. Like all the drama between them ignoring each other kind of gets resolved. But then like, you know, later obviously it's not fixed. But throughout this whole book, Clary is like so cool with what's going on with Jace. Like, you know, it's upsetting her that Jason's talking to her, but she's not reaching out to him at all either, which really bothers me.
Right.
Like. I don't know. I don't remember hearing a lot about her trying to call and text him. Like, I think she just left him alone. And, like, I don't think that would have fixed anything. Like, that just would have made me mad if my boyfriend was not answering me. Like, I wouldn't have kept quiet.
I would have been the same way. I'd have been like, God damn it. Why are you not answering me?
And it's like, what was I going to say? And, like, at the end, like, Jason nearly slits her throat, and she's just like, it's okay, like, it wasn't your fault. Like, I know it wasn't Jason's fault, but still, she's not shaken up whatsoever. Like, she's just so concerned with Jason's safety and, like, his mentality. And I understand it's all about the love between them, but still, it's just so not realistic. I'm like,
I know.
This isn't normal.
But, like, their entire books, their love isn't realistic. Like, let's be real. If you had gone through all that stuff thinking, like, this kid was your brother, but then again, like, it is only, like, through a couple weeks, right?
It's so weird when I think about how...
I know, it's weird.
It's been, like, 3 weeks since they've been dating for, like, a month or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it feels so much longer. Like, if it were me... and I thought someone was my brother, like, I probably never would have been able to end up dating them, like, honestly. No matter how in love with him I was after a week of knowing him. Like, and it just wouldn't have happened. I don't know. It's really weird when you, like, actually think about the time frame of it, because it's so unrealistic.
It starts late August and ends in December. 6 books. How many thousands upon thousands of pages
Like,
in...
it doesn't even like make sense. I always thought it was over like years.
I did too. And City of Bones is like a week. 2 weeks 2 weeks tops. Like I think I went through it and it was like a week and a half or something.
Well, I mean, like, let's be real right now. If someone were to write about my life over the course of August through December, it'd be a lot of, and then she made a YouTube video, and then she edited it, and then she posted it, and then she read a book, and then she reviewed it, and then she posted a video. Like, basically. I wish my life was exciting within the course of a couple months.
I feel like the I don't know the time frame of City of Fallen Angels, but I feel like it's longer just because they just go on for so long about how many days like Clary and Jace don't talk and stuff. I don't know why. It feels like it's like besides City of Heavenly Fire, and I feel like it's like the 3rd longest time frame, even though it's the shortest book.
Well, I haven't read City of Heavenly Fire yet, so
I'm so excited for you to read it. I'm so excited.
What else should we talk about, guys?
One thing that I want to talk about that really bothers me is at the end when Simon is bringing Sebastian back to life, he can apparently full-on bring people back from the dead, and, like, spoiler alert, this is never touched upon in the books ever again. Like, it's not even talked about.
I know.
And it bothers me so much. That is a massive thing. Like, I remember when I was making my City of Heavenly Fire theories video, I was like, I really hope that Isabel dies and Simon brings her back to life.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
I thought like it would happen with one person, but it's never even mentioned, and it bothers me so much because so many things could have branched off of that one little theory, and it's never like properly explained either. Like, that's a big thing, and the only thing that Lilith says about it is you had the power, just not the right. And, like, it's not explained, like, what circumstances. Like, does it have to be when the balance between life and death is upset and, like, the other person is present? Like, is it only that certain situation or not? Because I don't remember ever reading about that anywhere. And believe me, I'm obsessed about this for a year.
Like, how did Lilith know?
What did you say, Chloe?
How did Lilith know that he would work?
I guess it's because she's so old, and she's like, even I've encountered daylighters and stuff, so I guess because she's been alive for so freaking long, like, you know, Lilith kind of knows, like, everything in the world. How do we feel about Lilith? That's a good question, besides her just being a giant bitch.
I think her character is so cool. Like, I thought she brought so much to this book because at the beginning it was going nowhere. But I thought everything that happens with her is, like, I don't know, so cool. It's just exciting. I don't know.
No, I agree. She adds so much to it because from the beginning, like, you know, she has she's, what am I trying to say? Like, she's in contact with Camille. Like, everything comes back to Lilith. So I think that's really interesting. I thought it, I had to admit, like, when I was reading it the first time, I never expected that the woman who asked Simon about his band was going to play another role. Like, I feel like I should have expected that, like, why would she include this otherwise? But I'm just like, this is weird.
What do we feel about Maureen?
I don't like Maureen at all. I never liked her from the beginning.
Me neither.
She bothers me so much as a vampire because of just her mentality. Like, it's so obvious that she's just this little kid. It's like, it's like, I feel like she acts like a little kid who's, like, able to stay up past their bedtime with their babysitter. Like, she's just so cocky about it that she's now a vampire and that Lilith is taking care of her and stuff.
But then she's also kind of a badass.
Why do you think she's a badass?
Because of, who does she kill? Is that in this book?
No, that's not in this book. It's the next book.
I'm not going to say it. So I guess I can't really go into as to why.
I feel like in this book, she's, like, really just annoying and pointless. I forget what she does, or if she does anything in the other books. And she kind of was just a pointless character for Simon to feel bad about that he ate off of, kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could talk about Simon being a vampire with the Mark of Cain now, because he gets kicked out of his house, and he moves in with a werewolf, and people are trying to kill him. Simon had a really bad time in this book too.
Yeah. Well,
Like
he always.
until this is true. Like when I was explaining this book earlier, like when I was just reading it this month, like whenever I think of City of Fallen Angels, I'd always associate it with Clary and Jace's problems, but Simon has so many problems in this book too. He gets kicked out of his house. He has the Mark of Cain. People are trying to kill him. He's dating two girls at once, and they both end up hating him, and he was just trying to be a good guy, which isn't an excuse, but still, like, I feel bad for him. And then he gets kidnapped by this. He bit a human, which he never wanted to do, and then the human comes back and brings him basically to his death. And then he brings back, like, the most evil creature to ever touch this earth. Like, Simon had a really shit time in this book.
I know.
I feel so bad for him. I think I really didn't like Simon in the first three books all that much when I was first reading them, because to me he was just like the unnecessary part of a love triangle. And so I was always so focused on like his feelings for Clary. So like this is when he started to become like a very individual character to me. So the first time having that experience and me being like, I like Simon, and just all this bad stuff starts happening to him just makes me really sad.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What else
Talk
is there
about
in this?
irrelevant character Maya.
Oh my gosh.
Maya.
No.
She's
Maya,
so irrelevant. Like, this is just every live show. Why does she exist?
Like, literally, the only role in this book was to be annoyed at Kyle or Jordan. Like, did she do anything
and to
else?
date Simon.
And to date Simon, to be like the random girl that he was dating that he shouldn't have been. Like,
And
why?
I feel like there was no indication for them dating. Like, I feel like it was just really out of place because they were like friends. They weren't even that close. Like, the only interactions that they had in the other books, like besides being on the boat and the first time they met, Clary was there. So it's like, you know, the fact that after interest they just start hanging out and start making out, like, I felt really out of place.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they should have just been friends.
It was kind of like when Simon was dating Clary, and like it just was stupid and pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why, Simon? Why?
No, I totally agree. And then, you know, Maya never really bothered me until I read City of Heavenly Fire, and now that I'm reading it with all the annoyance, I'm like, wow, she was annoying in this book too. Like, she kisses Jordan and then is like, I don't know why I kissed you and I don't know why I did it again.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'm going to do it again. And, like, every time, like, Jordan's in the room, she's just like, meh, I love you, but meh, you hurt me. And I'm like, shut up.
Well, like
just pick one.
When I originally read or was reading City of Heavenly Fire, I stopped right after what happened to her because I was like, are you kidding me? She's so annoying. I just don't like her. I'm like, every book, she's so stupid. Why do you exist?
I feel like
What'd you say?
I feel like her whole character is just her backstory. Like, she never does anything in the books except for bitch about her backstory.
That is so unbelievably true.
Like, I got to the point today, like, where every time she basically came up in the book, I just, like, skipped over her. Because I was like, you're irrelevant. Yeah, you're just annoying. Why do you exist? You're stupid. Shit.
I feel like I had one more thing to say about Maya, but I don't remember what it was.
I'm trying to look up. I mean, I guess her backstory is kind of interesting about how Jordan turned her.
Yeah.
And, like, you kind of feel bad for her for a little bit, but then you're like, oh, yeah, you're irrelevant.
Only a little bit.
What do you guys think about Alec and Magnus's relationship?
Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about this. It makes me so angry. Alec, shut up.
I know.
I get so mad because of the way that Alec is just like, I don't know. I feel bad because I'd probably be the same way if I was dating somebody who was immortal, but he just causes so many more problems about it.
Right.
Like asking Magnus if, you know, like if he would like get with Jordan too if he was into that. Like, that's so unnecessary.
I know, and it's so mean to Magnus. Like, it's not his fault that he's immortal. It's not like something he asked for, and like it's just rude for Alec to just be like, "Oh, are you gonna do this when I die?" And I don't know. It annoys me a lot.
I mean, like, I can relate to it because, like I said, like, I would probably be the same exact way because, you know, I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it once I realized it. But it's like, you know, you're just making the time that you do have together unpleasant because you can't stop thinking about it and you can't stop reminding him about it. And it's like, I'm sure if Magnus had the ability to change things, he would, but he doesn't. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, you have to understand how Magnus feels, too, because, you know, say they're together until Alec dies, like, Magnus is alone, and it's obvious that Alec is the only person that Magnus has ever really, really loved. Like, you know, I think, you know, he's lost so many people in the past before, and then losing Alec is going to, you know, really, really hurt him on, like, a different level than he's ever been hurt before. Mm-hmm. So it's not like Alec is the only one that feels bad in this situation. Like, it's Magnus, too, and you know, Magnus can recognize that Alec is upset, but Alec won't recognize that Magnus is upset.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of bullshit.
And I do feel better when they resolve it in the end, when they're like, Alec is like, we can't hope, and then they talk, and then Alec's like, so what do we do now? And Magnus is like, we do what all other couples do, we hope. And I'm like, now I feel better.
Cute.
I just thought it was kind of weird that, like, they were talking about it so soon in their relationship, because, like, I could see, like, maybe, like, 10 or so years down the line being like, what are you going to do when I'm dead? But for me, it's like, you've only been dating for a month, and they're like,
this is true.
Oh my god, the timeline.
I guess it's kind of because Camille, like, brought it up. Like, Alec had never thought about it until Camille was like, is he gonna love you when age puts lines in your face, or whatever that quote was, or, like, when his blue eyes fade to gray, or whatever. So I think that had, you know, because they were having a great time when they were traveling together, but it was only until they came home and Camille started all of this that it started to bother him. So I can understand why it's on their mind. But no, you're totally right. It's like, why do you assume that you guys are going to be together forever? Like, you know, like, even 6 months down the line, it's a little weird to be talking about that yet.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's super weird.
God, everything just goes back to the timeline because, like, totally, we just talked about it and I already forgot that, like, that happens over a course of, like, a month. Like, why?
I have to say, one thing that I do really appreciate in this book is, like, like, this is weird, but, like, when I read books, sometimes, like, it makes me happy when I can pick up on things and I'm like, huh, that's foreshadowing, or, like, that connects to that. So, like, when they're bringing the dead Shadowhunter back to life and Luke throws acid on the rune to destroy it, like, I didn't remember that until Clary thinks of it and cuts Jace's rune. Like, wow, like, I see, like, that's why, like, I can kind of justify all the boring parts in the beginning because of the ending, because everything is very important and it connects. And while, like, it is kind of just a filler book until the end, I feel it's all really important fillers. So
but
it's like,
I think it is really cool when there's components like that and when you reread it. Like, have all of us are rereading it, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, there's so many parts in this book that, like, I totally didn't even catch on the first time reading it because I didn't know what was going to happen, obviously, because it was my first time around. But now that I know everything that happens, or, like, most of everything because I haven't finished City of Heavenly Fire, I think it's cool to, like, catch up on little things like that because I would have never noticed if I hadn't reread them.
No, I totally agree. One thing I also forgot about was that Clary thought of the rune to, do you guys remember the part, it's really, really minuscule, but when she is seeing the baby in the hospital, she takes the cloth and then, like, a rune pops in her head and she draws the rune on the cloth and that tells her the Church of Talto. Like, I totally forgot that happened and I'm like, wow, that's pretty, like, everything is important because had she not done that, she would have gone to the Church of Talto and then her and Jace would have resolved things and stuff. So, I don't know, like I said, everything is really important in this book. Like, it's boring, and it's just filled with information that makes sense later. So I don't know. I can justify the middle of the book.
But like, if you're really determined, you can just read it in a day, like I just did. So it doesn't matter that much.
It's super short, so it's like it's okay. I mean, 400 pages.
I mean,
isn't
yeah,
super
it's like
short.
400 pages, but I mean, if you look at the, it's such big, like, it's grammar.
Yeah, the font is big, and like when it's compared to the other books that are all like 500 to 700 pages, like it's a short book.
How long is City of Bones? Let me check.
And there's also like descriptions in the book that are interesting if you have the time, but if you're trying to speed read it in 2 days, you can like easily skip over them.
Yeah, that's true too. How did we feel about, first of all, finding out that Jordan was not a vampire, a werewolf, and then finding out that Kyle is actually Jordan who bit Maya? Because I wasn't expecting it whatsoever.
I didn't expect it either. Like, well, when I first read it, obviously this time. I don't know. It's just, well, because I don't like Maya, so I don't really care anything when it comes to her backstory. So, like, when all that was happening, I was just kind of like, oh, cool. Like, more to Maya's backstory, more to go on with her. Like, I do like Jordan as a character way more than I like Maya, or Kyle, whatever you want to call him. And I thought it was really cool that he, like, joined the band. And then, like, later on you found out. Because, like, it's really interesting to go from, like, this character that's just kind of, like, some random dude that joined the band and all of a sudden, boom, he kind of becomes important to the storyline, but not really. I just thought it was interesting.
No, I agree. I think it was a little bit of, like, fun in the middle of the whole everyone being sad and stuff. Because, like, introducing I feel like they really needed a new character in the books. Or at least a new main character, because I don't really consider Jordan and Maya main characters, but I don't really consider them totally supporting characters either. Like, they're kind of in the middle, because, like in City of Lost Souls, like, we see from this perspective and stuff, so, like, they are kind of important. But, I don't know, like, I feel like the first time I was reading the book, I was just so, like, developed into the world that, like, I wasn't looking for, plot twists or surprises like I do when I read now. But, it never occurred to me that, like, Jordan or her ex-boyfriend, because we didn't even know his name, would come into play. And when she said Jordan attacked him outside of that place, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like, this is crazy. So yeah. I think it was a good addition. Like, the confrontation between Maya, Isabel, and Simon was like a bit of like juicy drama, like as it is, and then when you add that into it, it's like super exciting.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Yeah. He was definitely really interesting because since I didn't expect him to be Maya's ex, then like I liked how he like brought Simon into his apartment when Simon was kicked out and that kind of stuff. Where was I going with this?
I think the idea of the Praetor Lupus is interesting because, it comes into play with the infernal devices. Like, that's like the first connection that I noticed because I read this book. I read all I read 1 through 5 before reading the infernal devices. So this was the first connection that I noticed. So I thought that was interesting that, like, we see. You guys have both read the infernal devices, right?
I have, yeah.
You haven't? Oh my gosh. Sierra, you have to before.
I have.
Oh, I thought you said you haven't. I'm like, what?
We had this conversation already. I think it's really cool as well to be rereading it because since I have read those, like I'm looking for stuff that connects. Like I know most of the connection is obviously in City of Heavenly Fire because all of those were out before, and it wasn't really. She hadn't really planned on writing them because it was supposed to be a trilogy. Always goes back to this. But I think it's fun to like try and pinpoint things like that.
This is also where Brother Jeremiah gets introduced because all of the silent brothers are basically dead before this. So that's like another connection that we don't realize until after reading the Infernal Devices.
Which we can't go into detail about either. It's really hard to do this read-along, actually, because, like, there's so many books that, like, I forget, even though, like, I just read this today, I'm already, like, wait, does this happen in this book? Like, because I want to talk about stuff that happens later on that I can't, and then, like, there's the infernal devices and can't talk about that stuff either. It's really hard. Like, I never realized how hard it would be to, like, talk about it and not spoil literally everything for everyone.
And no, I totally agree, because I try and keep the infernal devices and the mortal instruments very separate from each other. Like, I know that they're part of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, but that's, like, as close as I want them to get. Like, I want them to be two totally separate series, which I could go on a huge rant. Look at Sierra's face. I'm sorry. I have very strong feelings about it. I really need to reread the Infernal Devices, and then I know I will like them so much better. But so, like, but now I'm noticing, like, it's so hard to not talk about them, even though they weren't my favorite series. Like, there's so many connections and stuff that, like, we just automatically think of, and so trying to be like, no, don't read it. Like, we're gonna have to say in the City of Lost Souls that you guys better read the Infernal Devices before reading City of Heavenly Fire, because you're not gonna enjoy it.
Another thing that's cool, like, this doesn't spoil anything for Infernal Devices, but it's cool because if you paid attention in that series like I did, or that trilogy, there's a lot of things that they use in these books that were created in those books, which I think is really cool.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Some of the stuff, okay. It's kind of hard to, like, but I think
it's really hard to talk about.
Because sometimes, like, they'll mention something that they're using, like one of their little tools, and you'll remember it, like, being created in the other books, and, like, it's so fun to, like, pinpoint everything.
No, it definitely is fun to, like, see all the connections and stuff. That's, like, the thing I liked most about the Infernal Devices, or any, like, companion series.
Yeah.
Or prequel, or anything. Like, the connections are definitely the best part of reading it.
It makes me super excited for the next series. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
Dark Artifices.
Dark Artifices, to, like, pinpoint stuff from both of these series to that one. Like, I think it's going to be fun.
It makes me, like, I feel so weird about going to Dark Artifices because they're not related. Like, everyone, this isn't a spoiler because, basically all Shadowhunters are related. Right. But, like, the characters of the Infernal Devices are the ancestors of the characters in Immortal Instruments. Like, there's a family tree and everything, but this is totally separate. Like, we've heard the names of, there's Carstairs, but, like, we've heard the names of these like, the last names, but, there's no direct, what am I trying to say? Like, Will Harrendale and Jace Wayland are the same person. Like, we're not going to have anything like that in the Dark Artifices, which makes me feel weird, because in the last hours are, I believe, the children of the characters of the Dark Artifices. So, like, those three series are totally connected, and
so
this one is
just like completely separate, just the same world, right? I wonder if she's gonna
or do, like,
tie in
make cameos in it?
What'd you say?
Do, like, the characters from TMI make cameos in, like, the books? Like, are they randomly in there?
Yeah,
I don't think they're physically in the book, but I know for a fact, like, there's a line that Emma says, it's like, I'm the best Shadowhunter since Jace Wayland. Like, I know for a fact there's, like, they're mentioned, because, how can you not talk, like, it's like them talking about Valentine.
You guys know the time zone of that? Is it after all of these?
After.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because
they're totally going to be mentioned. There's so much crap that goes down in the Shadowhunter world because of them. Like, there's no way they can't. Can't be able.
Like, I'm not going to say anything that happened in City of Heavenly Fire, but there's stuff that happens in City of Heavenly Fire that directly affects the characters of the Dark Artifices, because the characters are in City of Heavenly Fire, so they have to, like, relate those two. And then, like, the Dark Artifices are going to focus a lot on fairies. Like, we haven't had a huge fairy. There hasn't been a huge fairy influence on the rest of the what am I trying to say? In the Mortal Infants and the Infernal Devices, there wasn't a lot of, like, fairy interaction. Like, the Seelie Queen in TMI, sometimes, but it wasn't like the werewolves or the vampires. And then I know in the Dark Artifices they have a connection to the fairies, so we're definitely going to see the Seelie Queen and stuff, which I think is interesting because, like, I kind of forget about them as downworlders sometimes, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm interested to see where the world is going to develop, because I don't know much about fairies now, but we're definitely going to learn.
And
Yeah.
the Dark Artifices, this live show just kind of like switched over to
No,
but,
it's still connected.
and the Dark Artifices, we get introduced to those characters in City of Glass, correct?
No,
Right?
in City of Heavenly Fire.
Are
we
you
meet
sure?
them.
I thought
Yeah.
we met. Who's it about? Emma.
Emma Carstairs.
I thought we meet her in City of Glass like when she's really little. No?
Did we? I don't think so.
I thought
I
they
don't
met
ever
her at
remember.
that one house. I don't know. I'm crazy. Someone
I
tell
mean,
me
they
if
might
I'm-
have mentioned it, but I don't remember hearing about her as a character.
Well, I don't think she was like a big character. I think she was just like one of the little kids running around. I think.
It's possible. It's
I think
totally
she was
possible.
I think she was like Max's friend, or something like that.
They totally could be. If anyone knows who's watching, definitely let us know. Because
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but it's 100% possible. I didn't even know that at this time she was thinking when she was writing City of Glass that she had like the ideas for all of that. But that's really interesting.
Well, because I remember when me and Selena both found out that they were those books were happening. It was before City of Heavenly Fire was even out, right? When we heard about those.
Yeah.
And I remember knowing who it was about already, and like we were both excited, but I hadn't read it yet. So I'm pretty sure they introduced her not like as a big character or anything. I don't know. Maybe I just reread it. Why?
No, it's 100% possible because Cassandra Clare likes to put in stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe.
So I was
It's
thinking
totally
if I'm right about that or if I'm wrong, I have no idea. But if I was right, then I would like hope there'd be like a prologue or like an epilogue or something of like her point of view when all of that stuff happened. Because I think it's when they're in, God, what's that place called? Idris?
Yeah,
And all
Idris
the
and
demons
Alicante.
come?
Mhm.
I think. I don't know. I'm probably wrong.
I'm
But
trying to remember if Emma like ever mentioned it because how young was she? She was like 11 or 12, I think, at the time. So she still like would remember it.
right.
But I know that like the prologue of City of Heavenly Fire is from all those characters. Like the prologue for City of Heavenly Fire is like 15 pages long, and it's like all from the Dark Artifice's point of view. It takes place in Los Angeles. And that made me super nervous because we all know how I feel about them mixing the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. When they put the Dark Artifices in there, I'm like, what is going on? I really didn't even want to read it.
I was mad as long as Jace isn't around.
Yeah.
I nearly did not read the prologue.
Basically, Emma doesn't even like the series. She just likes
Almost accurate. I'm getting better. I'm telling you, when I reread The Infernal Devices, I'm going to like it a million times more. Because I only hate The Infernal Devices when we're comparing it to the Mortal Instruments. But when people like talk about it in general, I'm like, oh my god, yes. So like, it's only when it's compared to the Mortal Instruments.
God. I totally want to reread those once we finish all of these. Because I love those ones. Like,
Same, because I liked it. It was in the, oh my gosh, words. Past. History.
that they're ancestors and stuff like that. Yeah. I think it's super cool and like, I don't know. I just like hearing about like their outfits and stuff like that too, which is so lame. But like, I like well, we can't really talk about that much, but like when they're talking about like putting on those hefty dresses and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Chloe, have you started reading the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy novellas yet?
No.
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 Oh my god.
On the iTunes store.
So, Sierra, you definitely have to read them once we finish the series, because there's so many connections to every single series that's being written. Like I can't say what they're about because it spoils like one of the biggest things that happens in City of Heavenly Fire. But like the last novella involves Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne's Parabati ceremony. So like it leads straight into the Dark Artifices.
That's cool.
And then they talk about characters from the last hours that we haven't even read from yet. We just know that they exist. And then they talk about the Circle. So like the actual uprising takes place in it. So like they mix everything together. So I don't hate it when they mix them together. I just don't like the Imperial Devices, okay?
I feel like I'm gonna die before this series is over. Like,
there's 5 of them. We're
like,
only 2 in.
What if she dies before she finishes writing?
That's not a possibility. That's
like,
not
oh my
happening.
god. I think me and Selena had this conversation before. I was like, I'm literally going to be dead before the last book ever comes out.
She's so young, though. She's not so young. But what, is she, like, in her 40s or something?
I don't know. It takes her forever to write.
It used to be a book a year, and now it's, like, a book 2 years.
Because she has so much stuff going on. Is she a big part of the TV show? I don't know if we've talked about it.
I don't know. I don't think she is.
She never talks about it.
I don't think she is. Well, she has been having a lot of problems with her fans lately, so she's been, like, stepping away from Twitter. Did I send you that article, Sierra?
I
think I sent it in the group. Basically, there's this article online about Cassandra Clare and Maggie Stiefvater talking about how hard it is to be a female writer. Like, one time Cassandra Clare was at a book signing and a fan literally slammed a book down on her hand because she killed one of their favorite characters. And it's
God.
How can you, it makes me mad to no end, but also, like, something happened and, like, somebody was getting attacked by, a fan was getting attacked by a different account, and, like, everyone was mad at Cassandra Clare because she didn't, like, stand up for them or something. It was, like, the most ridiculous situation, and Cassandra Clare had nothing to do with it. And so, because, like, Cassandra Clare, like, retweeted something from that account, I don't know, it was so ridiculous. But that's why Cassandra Clare hasn't been tweeting much anymore, but I remember when, like, the TV, like, before the casting and everything, like, or even as the casting was going on, like, people were like, do you have news for us, blah, 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 and she was like, I don't know more than you guys do. So I don't think she's a major part.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure she knows what's going on and stuff, but I don't think that she's, like, a co-producer, co-writer, or anything like that.
Right.
I think she's just like, okay, that works. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think that she just, like, oversees the decisions, but I don't think she has a say in anything.
Right. I think if you're going to be a female author, you kind of have to have, like, a strong backbone, because, like, when I was at Y'all West, I went to a panel with Marissa Meyer and Lee Bardugo, and they were talking about how, like, people do get upset, like, when you kill their favorite characters, but, like, you can't please everyone. Like, there's no way there's just no way. So it's just kind of a job that you have to be strong with. And, like, if you can't do that, like, but, like, I can totally understand her, like, wanting to take a step back, because, like, with social media these days, like, it's crazy. Like, you can get attacked so quickly. And, like, it just putting yourself on the internet in general, like, us being on the internet, like, having people watching us whenever, it just kind of puts you in a place where you can be attacked, and you just kind of have to be expecting it. And when it does happen, you can't, like, take it too seriously, because, I mean, you don't want it to affect your entire career or life or whatever.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It just bothers me that, like, fans would do that to, like, who they consider their favorite author.
Yeah, that's
like, I worship the ground Cassandra Clare walks on. Like, she could have killed Jace, and I'd still love her. Okay, like, she could kill. Okay, we're not talking about that. Okay, that was a good response. But, like, she could have killed, like, all the main characters, and then just have the book end, and, like, I'd still love her. Like, I'd hate what she ended the series with, but I'd still love her. and
someone said, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, go on. It wasn't that important.
Someone said on the YouTube channel that we're going to meet the Unseelie King in TDA.
Is there a king? Has that even been mentioned?
I have no idea, but if that's a thing, then that's so cool.
Somebody remind me about this comment, because I have a comment that I need to say in the City of Heavenly Fire live show.
Okay.
Chloe, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so. Oh, wait, maybe.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Sierra, soon you'll know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to forget. I know we'll discuss it. I know for a fact that we're going to discuss this thing, but I never thought that there would be a Seelie King because of this thing. Being discreet is really difficult.
We'll change the subject really fast because we don't want spoilers.
Yes.
I don't want spoilers.
On the topic of that, I'm excited to learn more about the fairy world because I feel like that's the only worlds we don't know a lot about, and it really intrigued me about how like they can't tell lies, but they can manipulate the truth and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm really interested because I feel like so many of us have grown up around werewolves and vampires, and not just because of Twilight, and like warlocks too, like with wizards, like that Harry Potter definitely, but it's like we grow up with the myths of vampires can go out in daylight, and crosses harm them, and holy water, and all that stuff, and then we grow up with werewolves with them changing in the full moon, and changing into a wolf form and like all that stuff. And I feel like at least around me, fairies like weren't like enforced at all. Like they were like a cute Halloween costume, not like a scary thing. And
me too.
Fairies are freaking crazy.
I know.
So,
Like I know nothing about fairies besides what is in these books and or what people think about them. And I just read like my first fairy book ever, which was Darkest Part of the Forest.
I knew you were gonna say that. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So like I don't know anything really, and I know that Holly Black writes a lot of fairy stuff. So maybe I should read more to like understand it further, like what the myths are and stuff like that, because like I have no idea. I wish they were a bigger thing though, because like in Darkest Part of the Forest,
it was crazy. No, but I totally agree because like some of my favorite things, like for example, speaking of Percy Jackson, like I hate Greek mythology, but I love the twists that they put on the myths. Like the best part of the series was not like the plot, not the characters. What I thought was the best part was how they changed all the myths that I've learned about in like school and stuff. So when you write about creatures and stuff that are already existing, and then they put a play on the fact, like for example, in Twilight, instead of vampires not being able to go in the sun, they sparkle. Like, I really appreciate stuff like that, but I don't know anything about fairies, so when Cassandra Clare is probably doing that with fairies, but I just don't pick up on it.
Right.
Like, the only things that I've learned from, I learned a lot about supposed fairy myths. I don't even know if they are true from the Darkest Part of the Forest, but I really don't know anything about the Braille Instruments fairies.
And I'm the same way. It's crazy to think about. I was going to say something and I can't remember now.
How did you guys feel about Jace, like, at the end of the book? Because I just read it an hour ago, and he was annoying me a lot. Because literally, like, there's 50 pages of him just like, I can't touch Clary. Alec, can you draw in the rune?
Can we talk about how he date raped her through a rune? Like, that never ceases to, like... It blows my mind, like, that happened.
I know, it's so... Stop!
It bothers me more than the fact that he held a knife to her throat. The fact that he, like, basically drugged her with a rune just makes me
I
more
know,
mad.
It's horrible.
Because there was, like, nothing she could do, because she thought it was, like, a love rune.
Oh my god, and the fact that he said it was, like, the marriage union rune, and it wasn't. Like, why?
I know.
Poor baby. I don't know. Were you saying something, Sarah? No.
No, I'm just mumbling sounds because I'm just...
I don't know. I can understand Jace's reluctance to, like, touch Clary and stuff. Like, it is annoying, and I'm just like, okay, shut up. Like, Clary wants you to hold her. Like, stop. But because of the way he is, like, I understand that, like, he doesn't think that Clary wants to touch him, and she doesn't think that he deserves for Clary to touch him and stuff. But no, he really is whiny when he gets like that. Yeah. Like, what was I gonna say? I like how Lilith dies too while we're talking about the ending.
Yeah.
I like how Simon jumps in front of her, and like the whole thing is she was using the Mark-a-Cane against him by using Clary, and that's how she dies.
Yeah.
I always wonder
awesome.
if Lilith is ever gonna make a comeback in any of the future series, because like what they said, like greater demons, especially Lilith, like they don't actually die. Like you have to kill them in their ethereal form.
She's the mother of all demons. Like she has to come back at some point. And like I really wish she wouldn't have died, because she just kind of like makes her entrance in this book and leaves, right? Is she only in this book?
Yeah, so like I get confused and makes like, would Cassandra Clare bring her back and like say the Dark Artifices, because that's the only one that I know takes place after Lilith dies, because I'm like, you know, she had this huge part in City of Friendly Fire, even if it wasn't recognized that it was her until the end. But I'm like, what could Lilith possibly do in the next series that's gonna top what happened here? So like, would Cassandra Clare bring her back? I don't know. Plot holes.
I wish,
not exactly plot holes, but stuff that bothers me about this is filed under stuff that is unexplained from the Mortal Instruments series.
Right. But like maybe they'll be explained in the other series. I don't know.
I've come to notice that a lot of my things that I consider unexplained are just things I don't pick up on. Like, I feel like I said this in the last live show about how I thought that Jocelyn and Luke couldn't get married because I thought it was against Clave law, but then it's just frowned upon. It's not actually thing. Like, I thought that I figured out the ending of the Dark Artifices. Like, I thought that, you know, it was going to be a happy ending where Julian and Emma can be together because for some reason they're ending the law that forbids Prior Batty to be married, so then that ends the Downworlders too, but that didn't happen. And that's not going to happen because apparently it's a more heartbreaking ending than the Infernal Devices.
Oh,
so, well, none of us are ready. But
never ready.
Yeah, and like I said, like the Daylighter thing, like I feel like that has a perfectly good explanation as to why it was never talked about in the rest of the series, because it probably was that it's just only in that situation, which is a crappy excuse for never bringing that up again. But I feel like a lot of it is definitely explained, but I just don't pick up on it, or like it's not like there's a reason for it that's just not public. You know what I mean? We have a question from Cara Jade, and it was, what was the most frustrating part of the book in regards to what your character did? My answer is just Jace. Jace frustrates me so much. Like, I can't, like, especially when he's with Simon, because Simon is trying to be like, listen, like, you're hurting Clary, and you don't want to hurt Clary, but you're not talking to her, you're not eating, like, this is a problem. He's, like, literally telling Jace straight up, and Jace is just like, meh, I'm not listening to you, you're mundane and stupid. And it's just, like, Simon is totally right. And so, like, while it bothers me, like, with all of the demonic influence and stuff that Jace did, like, you know, Jace ignoring Clary is totally conscious while the rest of it wasn't. So, like, I'm more mad at the fact that he is just ignoring Clary and, you know, not resolving their issues, because obviously Clary was totally cool about him, like, nearly killing her twice in this book. Sure, she would have been cool about it within the first 100 pages.
Yeah. Are you done? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt.
No,
I think the most frustrating for me is just, this sounds so horrible, but, like, all the characters just being whiny. They're all so whiny the entire book. Like, they're all just like, oh, poor me, my life is so hard. Everyone feel bad for me, please, because I feel like no one is. Like, and it's just really, it's so obnoxious and so annoying, and, like, it's the entire book. Everyone, like, if someone stops whining finally, then someone else starts. And so it's just, like, the entire book is just people whining, and I cannot stand it. Like, I can't stand that in real life either. So, like, when it comes to a book and I'm, like, trying to read it in a day and, like, every single character is whining, then I just, like, want to pull my hair out.
See, I think that the only character that didn't whine in that book was Isabella, and Isabella was still annoying at some points because she's always like, me and Simon were an exclusive. But then she goes back and is like, well, I didn't think you date someone out of your league or whatever. Like, she's still annoying, but she doesn't whine. So, and like when Simon hurts her, like, she's obviously hurt, but when she picks up the phone, she's like, what, am I supposed to be crying my eyes out because you dated my friend or something? Like, at least she's not whining about that.
Yeah. But then she's still annoying about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, she's not whining, but she's still bitching about it.
Yeah, I feel like half of their issues literally could have been solved if they just sat down without any interruptions and talked about them. Because half of the book was just like inner dialogue being like, oh, I should call Clary, but I shouldn't. And then like, oh, I'm mad at Magnus, but he's immortal. And it's just like, just talk about it. That's literally their only issue for the first 200 pages.
No, I know. The communication in this book is freaking horrible. And that plays a major part in all of their problems. Like, even, like, minor issues, like Clary and Jocelyn, like, I'm sure that Jocelyn would have felt better if she talked to Clary about what was going on, but no, she has to call the hospital behind Clary and Luke's back. So it's like just literally every single character just doesn't talk to anyone. And Simon doesn't talk to Isabella or Maya. Like, he refuses to ask what's going on. And
I know, he literally just had to ask them, like, hey, are we dating or not? Problem solved. Like,
Jordan was the only one that tried to talk because he tries to talk to Maya. He's the only one that tries.
But he's
literally 400 pages of people not talking to each other. How is this a book right now?
And then the last actually published, everything is falling apart.
Yeah. We talked about like our feelings on the endings and stuff, like, and where it left off, right?
Mhm.
Did you guys have to wait really? Because I remember when I did my Mortal Instruments tag with Michael Bookline, I said that this is my favorite cliffhanger, or like my favorite ending of all the series. How long did you guys have to wait until reading City of Lost Souls? And like, did the ending bother you? Because I read it like a couple of days later when I got it from the library, and it bothered me.
I think I bought it instantly after I read this one because I loved the ending to this one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need more, even though I just read an entire book of nothing. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I just moved straight on, and I think I enjoyed myself. I don't know. I don't remember.
I think the ending is just, like, super vague because it ends with Sebastian, like, kind of being alive.
Yeah.
And then Jace being drawn to him. Like, it's not clear as to what happened.
And I think that's why I did it the next one, like, right instantly. Because I was like, what is what?
Yeah. And, like, you know, I feel like now that we've all read City of Lost Souls, we're like, okay, well, at the end, you know, there's a whole little brother, we're one. And then, like, I feel like when you finish the story, you say, like, I'll explain it to you guys later, but I feel like you say what happens in the first 10 pages of City of Lost Souls, like it's just kind of connected right away. But when somebody hasn't read it, they don't know what happens next. Like, it ends with them just, you know, Sebastian kind of being alive. But I feel like
it probably should have ended like where City of Lost Souls first picks up.
No, I totally agree.
Should have put like those first 10 pages in the end of this book.
And, I think I've said that before to people.
More. Really?
Yeah, but no.
End's really confusing. Like, I had to read it a couple times to be like, wait, Sebastian's alive
I did too.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more pages would have, like, clarified that we're raising people from the dead.
Right.
I totally thought that Simon didn't succeed because he, like,
me too.
In my opinion, he never finished it. So I didn't understand how, and like, you know, Jace's rune was cut and everything. Like, I thought the connections were totally severed. Another thing that I don't understand about it, how did he come alive again?
And then, like, yeah, it seems like he didn't finish the ritual, and then he kills Lilith, not really on purpose, but like, so she's gone. The ritual's not finished. The rune is slit. Like, how was it finished? Because it wasn't.
Because I remember when Lilith is explaining it in, like, the easiest terms, I think she says, like, you know, everyone plays a part, like, Jace to be brought back, Sebastian to live, Simon to die, and you to be the catalyst for it all. So I thought Simon had to die. I thought Sebastian had to drink all of his blood.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. Like, see, so, like, everything indicates that it shouldn't have worked.
So confusing. Why? On the note of City of Lost Souls, how excited are we to read that? Because I'm so excited.
I have so many things to say. So many things.
I'm so excited, and I'm so excited for that live show too, because like out of all of them, I think that one's one of my favorites. But yeah.
I am really shocked that City of Heavenly Fire topped it for me because that book was so freaking good.
Yeah.
That one's like, I have a quote of it tattooed on my arm. Like, I'm obsessed with that book.
Yeah. Well, it's really similar to the first one as to, like, so much crap happens the entire time. Like, there's no points where it's, like, slow. I think that's another great thing about it, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why it's so exciting, because this book is full of nothing, and that book is
Full of
non-stop. Stuff is happening. We're so used to it being like, ugh, that we're like, everything is so exciting.
I know.
So exciting.
Do we have anything else that we could say, or do you guys want to wrap it up? Because I feel like an hour between the three of us is pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably... Yeah, because if we had all of us right now, we would still be talking about, like...
Maya.
Yeah, Maya.
Maya.
Oh wait, we have one more thing. I see one more question that I really want to answer before we go.
Okay.
It's from Cara Jade again. And it's, is it just me, or do you guys hate the way that Jocelyn treats Jace like he's Valentine? And I hate it.
Yes! Oh my god, I forgot about that.
It makes me so mad. Like, I...
Like, when they're at the party and her mom's like, oh, I see that Simon isn't here, but she, like, doesn't mention Jace.
Mm-hmm.
It just annoyed me.
Which I think is so... Like, how can you pinpoint him, like Jace, for things that your ex-husband did? It just makes no sense to me. Like, I get that she's mad that, like, Jace kind of converted Clary over to the Shadowhunter world, which is what she did not want at all. Like, I completely understand that, but, like, your daughter's happy. I understand that there's a bunch of crap going down, and she probably shouldn't be with him because, like, it could lead to death very easily. But, I mean, it is a book, and it is fiction, so, like, why does she have to be such a...
I like how, one of the things I always loved about the Mortal Instruments is how important, like, family is to the story, because in a lot of books, you know, family doesn't play a role at all whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I like that it adds to the complication of the family drama, because all the families are connected. Mm-hmm. But I don't like how she treats him, because it's not his fault, and he's so different from Valentine. Like, you know, sometimes I'll have the same ideas when it comes to the Clave, like what we talked about in City of Ashes, where he thinks that the Clave's being an idiot because the Inquisitor's treating him like shit.
Inquisitor.
But see, that's a perfectly valid reason. Like, he's not a zealot. He's not trying to do anything bad. He just wants to be with Clary, and Jocelyn just doesn't respect that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know. I see so few similarities between Valentine and Jace that it's like, you know, they're both charismatic and people want to follow them and stuff. But, like, concerning Valentine's ideas and his motives and stuff, like, they're not that similar in my opinion. So I think Jocelyn's just blinded by the past, and I don't think she never gives Jace really a chance. Like, throughout all the books, did Jace and Jocelyn ever really have a conversation? Like, especially up to this point, no. Well, I mean, she's asleep for the first 3 books, but that doesn't count. But still, like, they never really connect on any level. And even Jace says, like, I think he says it in this book, that, like, he wants to go up to Jocelyn and be like, I love your daughter and I would never do anything to hurt her. Right. And I just want to make her happy. Like, that's the truth of it. And, like, while Jace isn't going to do that because, you know, he thinks it's probably overstepping his boundaries, like, Jocelyn could easily just reach out to Jace. Like, I don't know, like a normal parent would. But she, like, refuses. That bothers me. Because I really like Jocelyn other than this.
Yeah,
she bothers me in this book, too. Everyone's just bothering me.
I think I have really mixed feelings about Jocelyn. Like,
I can understand
there's a lot of points where, like, I'm like, oh, cool, she's cool. Wow, my language is so great today. But there's a lot of points. I feel like there's more points in all the books where I'm like, why do you exist right now?
I'm really connected with Jocelyn, because in the first 3 books, she's, like, basically not there. She's just asleep. And then when she is there, she's just kind of being annoying to Clary and Jace. That I never really, besides when Clary's talking about her in the past, do I really care about Jocelyn too much.
Yeah. I think that goes back to, like, there not being, in, like, YA fiction, there's not a lot of parents involved in a lot of the books that we read. So, like, now that we're reading a series that there are parents involved, like, they seem annoying. Because, like, in reality, like, if we were all off trying to be shadow hunters, would our parents be okay with that? Probably not.
Even if they were Shadowhunters, they probably wouldn't.
Right, and like, so I think it's just because it's one of the first series that has parents involved, so like it's not something we're all used to, so we find it annoying. But like, if it was something we were used to, it'd probably just be like, oh, the parent's gonna be that parent this time.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's just something that goes along with YA fiction.
No, I totally agree. But I totally forgot she treats Jace like crap in this book. And it's not even like to his face, like it's just the way she acts about him to Clary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that it? Is there anything else we can discuss last minute?
No, I think we're good. I think we've gone pretty thorough.
Yeah, really. I mean, there's much in this book to talk about, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully next time we'll have at least 5 of us here. And make sure you pick up our next book of the month, which is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. Is there anything else that I need to mention?
Don't forget to follow our Goodreads page.
Yes, our Goodreads page. It's linked below in all of my videos, and you can just search the Mortal Readalong to find it. Try and start reading The Infernal Devices, because you're going to have to before City of Friendly Fire.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if anyone's like done it without reading The Infernal Devices.
I feel bad for the people that like are just picking this series up randomly, like at the library, and don't know.
Everything is a spoiler.
I know. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you probably back on Momo's channel, because Momo was sick today, so she couldn't host an entire channel.
Mm-hmm.
So we will probably see you guys on Momo's channel around this time next month. Bye!
Bye!